Great. Okay, we're live. Welcome to the pod, guys. Chase Payne podcast. What a pod we've got for you today. Two very empowering, inspiring women. We're really looking forward to digging into some good conversations about their experiences. And what I will say is their journeys are both different, but they're friends and they've supported each other through their troublesome times. And it'd be good to touch on what friendship means, and how you've worked together and supported each other as well. So first of all, Lindsay, can you just share who you are and what you've done and just a brief intro, please?
So I'm Lindsay. My husband is Ty. I've got one daughter, Macy, and I had major stoma surgery 3 years ago, and proctectomy surgery and hysterectomy all in one. But I did have a stoma when I was younger, so I've overcome that sort of stage of everything. And yeah, just overcoming that and just trying to normalise just living with an organ on the outside of my body, basically.
Yeah, of course. I think you use that word normalize there. For you, it's become an everyday thing. And since I've started seeing your social media, it's been quite normal to me. But a lot of people listening, this isn't the norm. This isn't. So could you just share with them roughly what that means and how it affects you day to day?
Yeah, so I have a condition called ulcerative colitis, which affects my large bowel. So I've had my large bowel removed when I was younger. And your large bowel is where all of your nutrients are stored, all your salts are stored in your body, majority of your water is stored. So of course, when that's removed from your body, that affects your whole digestion system. And now my digestion system is a stoma bag that I have on the outside of my body, where my small intestine is pulled through. And that's where I now go into number two. So that is my normal. And if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here. So that is, something that stoma bags are related to with older people, but younger people can have it as well. So yeah, that's
And
in a
and
nutshell.
so yeah, you done very well. Very clear. I will say though, like from your point of view, you're very active. Like you are non-stop, and for me, that's been really inspiring to see you can do anything you want to. And I think it's really important to get a message across. So DecaFit, putting yourself out there, that journey. I know, Phil, you've supported her through that and kind of you've seen her go through that. But that's been incredible. So can you share with us a bit about your DecaFit journey and kind of the gym and yeah, how you work out?
Yeah, I think for me it's important to remember where I was before, because there was a time before surgery that I was in so much pain that I couldn't work out. I would struggle to walk up the stairs. I would struggle to get in and out the bath. I would need help dressing. It was all those sorts of things. And the minute I had surgery, the pain had gone. I was suddenly medication free, not having blood transfusions, iron infusions. I suddenly felt normal, and I was like, how do I feel okay? And I just wasn't in pain, and the pain had completely lifted from my face. Um, it didn't actually start. I was a big runner and I always walked, but I didn't actually really start diving into the gym until actually JD opened in Southampton. And then a friend of mine sort of showed me a competition, which was DecaFit, which is normally done abroad, and said that why don't we do it? I didn't want to go abroad, so I said, oh, if it comes to the UK, I'll do it. And of course, it was fate. It came to the UK.
Come on.
So then I did a bit of a deep dive, and it turns out that no one had actually done a DecaFit with a stoma worldwide. So I actually got Guinness Book of Records last year for doing it. Which was pretty cool. I just fell in love with the training, and for me, it was just adapting the training to my ability, because some of the movements in the gym I can't do hinge movements like I would be able to, because I have to remember I've got my organ there on the outside of my body, which is my stoma. So training just looked very differently, but I just had to listen to the body within that first year after surgery, because as Philly knows, rehab, therapy, all those sorts of things, when your exercises look very different and you're retraining your body to work with you.
Agreed.
So yeah.
Agreed. I understand
So
that. And
yeah, I love the
uh,
training.
yeah, and it isn't just the physical side of it. I mean, going to the gym, I don't know how much of a percentage you can put it in, but I know for me, it is probably a 60-40. For me, it's mental. And that's something I really want to talk about later on, is that mental battle, and how the gym has supported that journey, if that makes sense. So really looking forward to talking about that and breaking that down. Okay, Phil, lovely to have you on the pod. You guys are great friends. Can I ask, how did you meet?
We met in the gym.
So I'd seen Philly at the gym quite a few times, and I was like, who is it? Because you just recognise rehab. You can recognise it. The movements are very different to the normal, I suppose, program that you would follow. And so I started following Philly, and I just saw her one day on the mat, and I was like, I just need to come and tell you and to say how amazing you are, because I get where you are, and I could just see where she was mentally. And then we just stayed friends from there, really.
I remember that day so well because I was having a really terrible rehab session and you came up to me and you're just like, I understand. And I was like, oh, good. I suddenly made a friend.
You know what? You saying I understand, when you go through something alone, it's really, really challenging. Just have one person that does understand what you're going through and you can share with, and it might sound a bit silly, but you kind of feel accepted a little bit. It isn't just me. Like, it's nice to go through it with somebody else in a weird kind of way. Not that you want to put them through pain as well, but going through things together is a journey in itself. And I'm guessing that your relationship grew over that time, and that's kind of what brought you guys together, unfortunately, due to injuries and unfortunate circumstances. But you turn that negative into a positive, and now obviously you're mates and you work out and it's just, I think it's fantastic. And
Yeah.
that's a positive. Always try and look for positives that come out of tough, challenging situations. So that is definitely one positive to come out of it. So Phil, share with us a little bit of background about who you are, and definitely the last year or so, just briefly before we dig into it properly.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'm an online coach. I'm a nutritionist. I'm actually just about to start another master's, believe it or not, on Monday in
Wow,
physiotherapy. So there we
amazing.
go again. But yeah, the past couple of years for me have just been really rocky. I had a hip injury that I know now, but it took a very, very long time to diagnose. So I had about a year of them doing all sorts of interventions, thinking it was my back and not getting anywhere, going around in circles. It was a really rough time. I don't know how long, probably about 8 or 9 months of not being able to walk properly and just honestly going round in circles with like physios, spinal consultants, like you name it. I saw everybody under the sun, and it was just the most frustrating time of my life, honestly, because I'm such a kind of, if there's a problem, I do something about it, but not knowing what to do about something is infuriating. So the past couple of years have been very much like that for me, which has been very difficult, but we're getting there now. So slowly but
Yeah,
surely.
you certainly are, and I think today's a really good opportunity just to kind of reflect a little bit as well. And there'll be a lot of people that will be listening to this podcast, and it will really help them understand, one, what you've been through, and two, if they're going through the same thing. And I think these are the core messages I want to dig into today, and use this as a platform to get that message out there. So the first real thing that I see is, I see the mental battle and the physical battle. So you've got mental fortitude, physical strength, and then what carries with that. I feel as though did you lose any self-identity? Because one minute you're going to the gym, you're working out, that's your life and that's your job, and
Yeah.
you're making a difference and inspiring people really positively, and then you're not.
Yeah.
How have you felt identity wise over the last 12 months? And how have you rebuilt that?
Yeah. It was a really big shift for me at first. I think, like you say, going from something that is your entire life almost, I've trained since I was 17. So I've done that consistently since I was 17. I built my career off of it. I studied it. I consider myself to be that person. And then all of a sudden overnight, you don't have that. And you're left there sort of going, okay, what is it that I actually like to do? What makes me happy that isn't that? Like, who am I that isn't that person? And if you feel exposed, honestly, you're kind
It's
of just
scary,
like,
right? It's really scary.
yeah,
You kind of have the blanket kind of like just taken from you, and you feel naked in a way, because actually this is who I was. That's been taken away. Well, who am
yeah,
I now? What do I
yeah,
do? How do I deal with these emotions?
yeah. And it's not easy. I think I
No.
probably struggled with that more than anything, because I'm just, like I said earlier, I love fitness. I love movement, and like literally not being able to walk. I'm not even just talking about training. I like couldn't walk. I couldn't dress myself. There are multiple times my boyfriend had to pick me up and take me to the toilet in the middle of the night. Like, it's literally like just nothing at all like I'm like as a person, and nothing that I like to do. So it's just, like I say, it's so exposing, and you do have to kind of sit with how uncomfortable it is and just be able to go like, okay, right, I need to figure out who I actually am when it's not tied to that perception of who I thought I was.
Yeah, and that's on a day-to-day basis. That's not just, oh, it was a week. That's been a long
Yeah,
period of time. And
it
Lindsay, for
was.
you as well, that kind of identity from pre-op, after operation, and then going to the gym and then doing DecaFit, your identity, do you feel as though that's changed a little bit through what you've been through the last 2, 3 years?
Yeah, massively. I think especially how your body looks. I mean, got a bag stuck to me, that kind of thing. Your body looks very different. I've got scars. I have to wear a support belt when I go to the gym to, help support herniation. I think it's really important to listen to your body as well. And actually, I'm one that, if I haven't done that, I've failed. Actually, I've learned the hard way that actually it's okay to slow down, and it's okay to not do nothing but listen to what your body is screaming at you to do. And I think that's really important, to just make sure that you do take those hard days and go, actually, it's all right, just settle and do this, and then we'll continue when you're feeling a bit better. I think our
Yeah.
bodies tell us.
And you need to listen to your body. And a lot of us don't, especially if you
Yeah,
want to go to the gym and be consistent. Like, we don't
yeah,
listen to our bodies.
I really want to reiterate that point, because that was probably my biggest learning of this whole thing. I think we're always pushed this narrative that we need to be doing more. Like, there's almost like you shouldn't allow yourself to rest, and it's considered a negative. And we've all been told, listen to your body, listen to your body, listen to your body. But does anyone really know what that means until you're faced with it? I
yeah,
don't think they do. And I think you've probably found the exact same thing, Lindsay. Like, learning to actually really stop is actually really hard when you're someone that doesn't do that. And it's so important to be
yeah.
able to do. So
It is.
important.
It is difficult. It is, and I think there's a huge thing for women, as particularly about body image could look like this. I think the tip could be, actually, I want to feel strong, and that's that's how you should. If that's what you feel strong, then that's amazing. But you shouldn't have to worry about your weight or anything like that. Especially after, I know for me, after stoma surgery, particularly, it's very common to put on weight after stoma surgery. You go in spurts. So I'd lost an awful lot of weight dramatically, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you look so well," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I've had quite a few organs removed, but yeah, I feel great." And then it's like, oh, actually, because you are not allowed to eat vegetables, you're not allowed to eat, you're on a very, very carb heavy diet after surgery, because you're trying to get that organ moving. If you suddenly fluctuate and then you put quite a lot of weight on, what I'm trying to say is, I want someone to say I look strong rather than worry about whether I've got a bag or what you look like, kind of thing. But
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
great point. It's a fantastic point made, that, Lindsay. So you mentioned earlier about that, again, the identity, and now you have the bag. Now we don't see that on a day to day. That's only something that you notice yourself. So do you feel, because no one else can see it, no one else perceives you in a different way, only you do that? Is that something you put on yourself, or is it because obviously you know it, you're carrying the bag with you, but other people that walk around wouldn't know? So do you still feel as though, are you being too harsh on yourself a little bit, like because you know you're carrying the bag, like no one else knows?
no, 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 I agree. I get on with everything day to day. And that's a old cliche of, an invisible disability. It is an invisible disability. Not all disabilities are seen. Excuse me. But even in schools today, disabled looks like wheelchair, which yes, I do get. But Philly, you've gone through this, and if you needed to use a disabled toilet through this time because that was where your comfortable space needed to be, that's what you should have used. There shouldn't be any right or wrong, and no one looks like how they should look, if that makes sense. So
Yes, it does. No, you're right. Yeah, really, really good point. It's a
we're
great
all
point.
unique, and that's what makes us at the end of the day. So it shouldn't. Yeah, it's down to you and your personality, not what you look like or your disability.
Yeah, no. And I think that also just shows why these two stories of yours matter together so much. They're so linked. And yeah, I mean, a question I do have: what was harder for both of you? Was it the physical recovery, or was it the mental battle?
Mental for me.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I think physically I can do the rehab. Like I can, if I know what my plan is, that's not hard for me to do. It was the not knowing, and it was the shift in identity, and it was dealing with lots of flare-ups that mentally is really draining.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And for me, I'm quite independent, so having to rely
Same.
on somebody else for help,
Yeah.
that grated on me because I had to ask for help or I needed help, and I'm not used to doing that.
It seems to me there's quite a few different streams that come off of this. So you have an injury or something that happens, but there are so many other knock-on effects that affect you mentally, whether it's putting the stress on other people and you don't want them to, to put that on them, the worry, the panic of, oh, I can't do what I used to be able to do, the loss of identity. It isn't just that. Sorry, that one moment is just so powerful and can change so much. Philly, for you and your injury frustration, how did you, at what point in that journey did you go, okay, I'm going to accept this now? Like, was there was like, no, I'm angry, I'm going to keep training, I'm going to keep going? No. At what point did you honestly look yourself in the mirror? And I do this a lot. I think if we look in the mirror and ask the tough questions, what am I doing? Is this correct for my body? Why am I still injured? And what is it? How am I going to sort this out? When did you accept it?
I mean, I suppose quite quickly in terms of accepting that I was injured. I mean, I tried to sort of keep training for a few weeks, but it was so clear, like I just couldn't do that. I could walk, I couldn't, like that was a acceptance moment in terms of this is what it is. But I think for me, I really struggled with like the frustration element of it, and sort of acceptance, I suppose, is like in different ways throughout the process, because I learned later down the line, actually, I started working with a pain psychologist at one point because I was really struggling to kind of know what to do with my emotions when I had those huge pain flare-ups. And he was sort of saying to me, like, actually, the people who do accept the pain for what it is and be able to have that sort of mental fortitude and resilience and positive thinking when something really, really hurts are actually the people who have the best pain outcomes. So
Yeah.
it's so easy to fall into that trap of kind of something really hurts, you panic, you catastrophize, you like, those are all completely natural ways of thinking when something hurts, obviously. But actually trying to retrain that thought process really helps in terms of like the length of time that you're in pain for, the flare-up duration, the severity of it. Like that sort of acceptance, I think, was something that I learned a lot later, and it was a lot harder for me to get good at as well. Still, like, honestly not good at it. I don't know if anyone ever is, but yeah, I'm better
No.
than I was, maybe.
Is that, would you say then that is also another positive to come out of this? That actually you said you spoke to a pain psychologist, the things that you've been doing, you can take a lot of positives in a weird way from that experience, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Still not something I'd choose to put myself through, but if we're taking positives, obviously, yeah, let's go with
Yeah.
that.
I
I
think
mean,
attitude plays a big part in it. Attitude plays a big part in it. between your mind and body connection. That's what's going to be your drive to whether you walk 5 minutes the next day or whether you stay in bed and dwell on it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And the cliche is, we always put a positive spin to get you through whatever it may be. But ultimately, it was a long-term situation, and you've gone, okay, well, this is where I'm at, and you've actually what you're about to start tomorrow, I'm guessing, is come off the back of where you've been. So that's, for me, that's huge. So a year ago, if that hadn't happened, right? If that hadn't happened, what percentage of you would be doing this tomorrow? Your new journey tomorrow?
So when
It's a
I
weird
did my
question.
master, when I did my masters the first time, which I did in nutrition initially, I was always debating at the time, should I do physio? But it was just one of those, the physio masters is longer. I would have had to move on to different uni. So I was just like, maybe in another life I would have done that thing. And then I think this happening to me over the past couple of years has just made me go, do you know what? Like, I could be good at this. And I've had to learn a lot about myself, honestly. So I'm like, I reckon I could be all right at this job. So yeah.
The experience that you have honestly gained through all that journey, and you've done a lot of research on it and what you've been through, you can now share that with others, because people will come to you at some point with these similar issues, or mentally, physically, and you can actually share personal experience. And I believe anyone in any job, whatever they decide to do, if they've been through it themselves, there's no one better.
Yeah.
And that's with all walks of life.
You're so right. Especially, I think, in the realm of chronic pain, because like even myself, I've seen professionals over the past couple of years who've been telling me things about chronic pain, but it was really clear that they didn't really get it. It's like, you haven't gone through this. It's obvious. So I hope that will help me in the future with people.
It will. It really will. It really, really will. And that will be what probably separates you from a lot of people as well in that sector. So no, that's really exciting. So Lindsay, for you, after your operation, obviously there's loss of routine, loss of control, maybe confidence. How did you deal with that?
I just needed to recover my body and try and trust my body was and I move forward. There was no way back. My dad got surgery. I don't know if you know what that is. That's where they remove your anus. So there's no cancer cells. So that's why I had the Barbie bat, as they call it. So that's why I had that surgery. And that's a really hard surgery to recover from. But there's no turning back from that. So in case of if I didn't move forward, I would just be. So I have to make the best of everything. And that's my drive. I've got my daughter, that's my drive. There's lots of happy advice from the NHS that you can't lift, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm a huge advocate of yes, you can. You just need to learn to do it safely. So come and drop me a message if you really want to know about it. But 9 times out of 10, stoma nurses they don't have stomas, even though they're very well educated. They don't have stomas themselves. So the advice that you get across the board is very different as well. So it was a bit of a trial and error experience in the first year, I'd probably say.
Yeah, superb. So did you feel as though you were supported strongly with
my stoma
those
nurse? I really love her. She's amazing, and I actually do quite a lot of work with her actually. So she's fantastic. So I'm very lucky, and we actually go and help lots of other people as a team together. And then my husband's great guy, he's fantastic. And then my boss who I work with, Misha, he's had his stoma for 10 years now. And he drives through people with his social media platforms to try and educate people about stomas and stopping the stigmatism about it all. So that's a really, really good positive, and I'm grateful for social media, because if he wasn't there and wasn't showing these things, I would have learned a lot. I have learned.
Fantastic. That's superb. And you are using your voice to make a difference. And again, I will say, I always say it, and I won't stop saying it, is that every experience we go through, there will be something positive coming out at the end of it. And what you're doing is incredible. And please keep it up and keep sharing your experiences, because people are out there listening. And it's just such an inspirational story, really. And you and Tizer, I see you going for your walks together all the time on
Yeah.
Instagram and social media. That encouraged me to do that with my wife. So little things you do on the social media, people do see it. So keep doing it and keep sharing, for sure.
Yeah, we go out every Sunday because he works nights, so we barely see each other. So that's our point, that we have to see each other. But that's like no phones. That's kind of just connect.
Phil, with
It's not just me. Like Billy was saying, like with her partner, your partners goes through everything that you do, maybe tenfold, because they don't want to tell you that they don't know what to do or how to help you, and they're just as scared as what you are, but in a very different way. But they do go through it the same as you. So I think this year, that's something that we've kept in, is the Sunday walk.
Yeah, no, that's superb. With regards to Phil, your progress with your rehab, how how have you got on with that? So where are you at now? Where were you a year ago? Where are you now? And how does that progress look with your rehab?
I think it's so hard to say, because it was just so. I feel like there was almost chunks of time where I'd be with a professional, I'd have this rehab plan, it wouldn't work. I'd go to it was just so segmented, if that makes sense. But if I
Yeah.
could be like, I started with a new physio, and I had some Botox injections into my hip, and I had all of that done. When would it have been, like March 2025? And then I started with a new physio in the summer, and since then that has been the like massive game changer for me. He's just got everything right, and it's just suddenly gone like, oh my god, I've gone from not being able to walk to actually progressing things quite quickly, which was amazing. I unfortunately did have a bit of a flare up over Christmas, so I'm trying to kind of come back from that now. But these things happen. Like, it's never going to be a complete like upwards trajectory when you're doing any sort of rehab from like a big injury. It's not going to be like that. But I have actually been doing, on the whole, very well. It's just like a little bit of a hiccup along the way.
But if you cast your mind back 12, 13, 14 months ago, if you had had a flare up back then, how
Yeah.
did you deal with it? If
Yeah.
you, this Christmas, you've had a flare up, how did you deal with it? What's the difference?
Differently, so differently. So like back then, it would have just been immediate panic because I had no idea what to do with myself. It's awful when it's like that, because you're just there and you're like, like it hurts so much. I can't sit, I can't stand, I can't lie down for any length of time, can't walk, can't, like, what do you do with that? But I think this time, knowing that I have a good plan, I have a good structure, I know these things happen. Still have this really great physio. So he was like, okay, you're gonna rest off it for a week, get it calmed down a little bit. And then he really quickly got me back to moving, which I think was so vital for me. And like, I wouldn't really have known how to approach that before, because like, it's different sorts of movements. It's not like you can just go and train. It's more like very gentle, easing yourself back in, knowing how to approach things with my hip. It's been so helpful to have him there in my corner. I think that's been, like I say, a game changer for me. It really has.
Would you say the resilience was always there? So you dealt with it really well at Christmas. So you're quite a resilient person. You're into your sport, you're active. So would you say that the resilience has always been there, but because of the knowledge that you've learned over those 12 months, have put you in a position to understand yourself better? Would that make sense?
I would say so. I don't know if it's resilience or just pure stubbornness, but like, I just I will not give up. And I think I found that particularly when I was in the real depths of pain. You like, social media is great in some ways, but it's a negative in others, because you'd have people messaging you saying, oh my God, I've had this thing for like 10 years. I'm like, I can't move. I'm still in pain. You're never going to get better. Like, that's not what I read when you're in like in the depths of something yourself. But I'd always
Yeah.
look at these messages and think, that's really sad for that person. But like, I'm not just going to accept this. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, I'm just going to find a way out of this thing. I think that stubbornness has always been there for me, but it was definitely difficult during that time because I didn't know how to get out of it. But I always knew I would somehow.
I
But you
think a lot of
sharing
us
your
can learn
story,
from that
Philly,
stubbornness.
yeah. But you sharing your story, Philly, helps other people, especially if you're on your platform.
Hope
You know,
so.
the clinics you go to or the rehab exercise you're doing, that does help other people. Like, you know, like Kurt said, you know, people are watching, even though they don't say anything.
Yeah, no,
I hope
agreed.
so.
And that
I do.
and those like sharing raw moments on Instagram, and I will touch on this now. I wanted to ask that question. That's a really to put yourself out there in those raw moments. That's such a hard thing to do. How do you do it? And do you feel better afterwards? Are you getting something from it yourself, or is it just a way of a coping mechanism?
I think sometimes, no, I wouldn't get anything out of it. Like, I would just do it and then actively avoid my DMs because I'd always have people like either trying to give me advice that wasn't helpful or like telling me this, the main things actually people telling me their own stories. And as much as like I don't want to be like, I don't want to hear it, but like you don't always want to read like things like that when you're going through it yourself, like in your just capacity. So I think sometimes I found it a little bit overwhelming in that regard, but at the same time, like it is a great platform. People are very supportive. There's always going to be negatives to something like socials, but I also think there are positives there too. And if I could have people like offering, like Lindsay, for instance, like we wouldn't know each other if it
Stalker.
wasn't for that. And some people are so positive and so like so helpful and so enthusiastic and supportive when you are recovering from something. I think there's always that positive to something like Instagram as well.
Agreed. And your friendship and what you're supporting each other through and continuously doing that, what have you learned from each other? Can you share one thing you've learned from each other? I know Phil's is stubbornness, but what what can you share one thing you go, I tell you what, yeah, I've really learned that from Phil and the same with Lindsay. Could you share that?
Yeah.
I think for both of us, it's just keep showing up. We just keep showing up, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to have a really horrible day, but we talk, and talking is a good thing. Whether that's on your platform, on the stories, on with a partner, with a friend, it's you just need to talk about it. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I think what I love about Lindsay is just so brutally honest sometimes in such a good way. Like I remember, I don't know when it was, maybe like just before the summer. I think I was so burnt out with this rehab I was trying to do that wasn't working. I was like on the way home from the gym in tears. I voice noted Lindsay. She was just like, you just need to stop. Like, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. Like, I just needed to stop what
Yeah,
I was doing for like a week and just recoup. And I wouldn't have done that had you not actually just been like, Phil, seriously, I needed to hear that. So
but
she did
sometimes
that.
you need to hear it from somebody else that has
Me
been
too.
maybe in that burnout situation, or actually just hear that someone else to say it's okay to stop. Just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
someone else that's been through it. You're too hard on yourself. That's what it is. We
Yeah,
all
no.
are.
I think
Yeah.
you've been good at sort of like helping me listen to my body with that because I think I was stuck in the whole like physios are telling me to do this, like I need to do this thing to get better. But like I think you know deep down in your own body, you should trust whether you know it's working or not. And I think I knew it was working, but I was like, oh, but I'm being told to do this thing, and it was just like a pull push thing that I just burnt myself into the ground honestly at that point. I really did. And I needed Lindsay to go, you need to listen to what your body is telling you. My body was literally saying, stop, like, stop. And I just was ignoring it for so long because I'm so stubborn, as you know. And I needed her to say that to me. So I think that was helpful.
That's good to hear. That is good to hear. Would you say that the definition of strength? Usually we talk about physical bodies. And would you say 15 months ago your definition of strength would have been more body related, Phil, or has your definition of strength evolved and changed now?
Definitely different. I think if you said to me strength before, I probably would have just thought about physical strength in the gym. Whereas
Glute
now,
raises.
yeah, like how much can I hit thrust, you know? But now it's very different. I think it's more about like just resilience, I suppose, more than anything, and being able to bounce back from things that are far from ideal. Because I don't think life is always going to be like that. And I think when you're in your young 20s, like, it's easy when things are going really well. But I think being able to be resilient when things are much harder is where the real strength comes. And I think, you unfortunately you can't really learn that until you go through something yourself. It really is something that teaches you a lot.
A really good point. It's a really good point. Do you feel as though, Lindsay, so social media, the ideal situation is the pressure to look so strong on social media, physically and mentally. Do you think you have done a good job yourself and going, actually, this is who I am, and it isn't just about looking strong, it's also about feeling strong? So do you feel as though there's a lot of pressure on you to do that, or from your social media side?
For me, you put pressure on yourself. You want to sugarcoat everything, sugarcoat it, but I'm much more like people who are raw and real, to be honest. Because not every day we're all perfectly perfect, right? So there is no amazing day, and there is always something within the day. But I think you need to keep it real. I started training because I was uncomfortable. I was a little bit overweight. I felt uncomfortable with my bag. I could feel like a sack behind, like a fat sack behind my bag. That's why I started. Um, so there's a reason why you always start something. But I think it's important to keep it raw and real. But it's your platform there, and I think that's really important. If you want to sugarcoat things, then that's your platform. So, but that's not mine.
Yeah, I love it. Would you agree, Phil? I mean, from your point of view, for your job and what you do and your followers, do you feel under pressure to post and regularly and to share, and you got to look strong when you don't feel strong?
Yeah, I definitely have struggled with that over the time. I think I lost about 20,000 followers when I got injured because, like, I couldn't train, like, I wasn't doing the same thing, and a lot of people didn't align with that, and that's fine. Like, it's like each to their own. But I think I did struggle to stay consistent with, like, I don't know what to talk about when I'm not like
Mm.
doing what I was doing before. That's why I tried to share my injury, I suppose, to kind of give people some context in maybe a slightly different way. But I think what is nice about me going down like physio route now, I think personally I have reached a bit of capacity with social media. I've done for a long time. I like to be able to share what I want to share, but then anything beyond that feels so forced and so unnatural that I don't really want to have to do that anymore, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a really, really good point. And I saw your information you were sharing, and it really helped me with my daughter. So it was really appreciated. So it is making a difference. And for those followers that decide to leave, that's up to them. But I guess that's social media, right? It's so
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I've just got to that point, especially as I've got older. I've gone like, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to say. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick around. Like, I actually don't really care. I'd rather just come across like myself, and that should be enough.
And it's a snippet of you. Not everybody.
Yeah.
Your friends will know you. Your family will know you. But it is a very short snippet of your life.
Yeah.
Not yourself.
It seems
So,
to me, listening to you two, and again, share what you've both been through, that you've used community instead of isolation to get through it. A lot of people do isolate themselves, or maybe haven't got many people to support them. But it just goes to show, and for people listening, if you're going through an injury, if you're going through an illness, or if you're just struggling in general, community is fantastic. And going to the gym, you can achieve that. Going for a walk, going to the library, whatever it is, put yourself out there and talk to people. And if you get friends like you two, then that's a Brucey bonus, right?
yeah, absolutely. Cookies and all.
I know.
Cookies? Where are the cookies?
Yeah.
Do you feel as though you both now have kind of, not that you needed to, but have you given yourself permission to heal and move on and
Good
get where you want to
question.
be?
Yeah, I think I've got better at like stopping. I don't like it though. Let's be honest. Like, I don't really think I'm able to sit still and be comfortable with it. but I also know that it's necessary. So I think I'm still working.
Yeah. And
That's
for
an
me,
honest answer.
yeah, for
Yeah.
me, this is my new normal. So I have to go.
Yeah, I agree. What what would you so if someone's in the same situation, what would you tell someone at the start of their recovery for their journey, Phil, from a injury point of view?
Yeah. Don't just keep training like it's not there. Yeah. I think I've seen that with a lot of people that they're still doing it, and it's infuriating when you've gone through it yourself, because don't get me wrong, like I still did that at the beginning and I learned the hard way, and I don't want anyone else to have to learn the hard way. But actually stop, listen to what your body is telling you to do. I would go and see a professional that you trust. And I definitely strike the balance of knowing when to genuinely like stop and try and just calm your central nervous system down, because that is a big part of dealing with an injury that really matters, that I think a lot of people ignore. um and yeah, I would just go with the guidance of that professional. I think it's really easy in this sort of industry to feel the pressure to train a certain way, particularly if you have built muscle or you train like a bodybuilder or something, because it's scary, the concept of losing what you've built. But equally, if you don't do that, you'll just drag out what you have or make it worse. So I think it is really important to know it's okay to stop sometimes in order to keep progressing in the future.
Same thing for you, Lindsay, but from someone's going through what you've already been through, what what support or what advice could you share with them?
From a medical perspective, obviously, whether it's over the last or come off all the chat forums on Facebook, because they are a really negative space. They think a bit of a spiral. So come off on all of those. You don't need them. And just find someone that you can talk to, DM them, and someone that's not going to feed you a load of waffle of scarce information that's going to make you very scared. Yeah, and then just go down that path, because everyone's journey is very, very different. Whether you come from endometriosis, cancer, like myself, you see your friends, it's very, very different. So just find a person or a few people, um, rather than lots of people, that can become very overwhelming.
Yeah, I guess it can be with lots of different voices, lots of different information, the
Yeah,
social media, the Facebook, reading everything. You'll always hear the worst of it as well.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I add
Seeing what
something to
you've
mine
done.
as well?
Yeah.
Sorry. I just thought of something that I actually think is really important for people like going through an injury. Don't just blindly believe a professional just because they're a professional, because everybody has a different opinion.
yeah,
Everyone has a bias. That's the thing. If you go see a spinal consultant, they're going to say it's something to do with your spine. You probably need an invasive procedure like surgery or injections or something. If you go see a physio, they're probably going to tell you to do exercise and it'll fix everything. If you go to a chiropractor, they're going to crack you and say, that's it, that's it. Like, it's really, I think, difficult to know who to trust when you don't really know what's going on yourself. But I would always take everything with a pinch of salt that somebody tells you, because I've heard all sorts, honestly, from different people, and everyone has a bias. You've just got to find that person where something actually genuinely works for you, and you're not just going, oh, I'm just doing this because this person told me, you know. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I don't
No, I
think
Yeah,
agree.
definitely.
that's
Definitely
really
what really like the leaflets I got sent home from hospital with was very much, you won't be able to live, you won't be able to read this, you won't be able to do that. There was very little positive information in these NHS booklets, which I would love to rewrite, or someone to rewrite, because I think it's not a very nice space to leave hospital with as a negative. Like you say, Billy, like you want to know that you can do these things. So yeah, I agree.
When when you go somewhere looking for answers and people tell you because that's where they're from, like you say, Phil, you also want to latch onto that, don't you?
Yeah, you
That's my
do.
answer. Oh, that's my answer. And I think that can be fed on quite a lot by professionals
yeah.
sometimes.
We all want
And
the
they have
diagnosis. We
Yeah,
we all
that's
want
just
a
really,
diagnosis, don't we? We want like a reason. We want a word that we can say that our problem is. And like,
Yeah.
quite frankly, with a lot of injuries, you might not get that. Like, I can't say to you what my hip injury is. There's a whole load of things going on. I couldn't like tell you specifically, honestly. And I think sometimes we look at professionals almost like, you know, when you're a kid and you look at an adult and you're like, oh, they know what they're doing. Like they are just intelligent people. And sometimes I think when we go to see like different healthcare professionals, not that they're not intelligent people, but we shouldn't just go, oh, they're definitely right with what they've said, because like I say, everyone has a different bias. They're coming from a different standpoint with what they're saying. And it might not be the thing that you're looking for.
that's the best way I've heard someone explain that before. It's like listening to an adult,
Does
because
that
an
make
adult
sense?
does. It's so true. That's the best way I've heard it explained. That I'm going to note that one down. Because you are going to seek support from people that know exactly what they're talking about, and your parents, adults, usually know what's best. That's a really good explanation. That's a great takeaway, guys. Note that one down.
No, go listen. You need to share that next.
Kind of just a closing question for you both. What does fitness mean to you now?
I mean, for me, it's if I didn't have the operation, I would not be having this conversation now, and I would not be here. So for me, it's a real privilege. um, And for me, movement is movement. If I'm having a bad day, walking
Yeah.
is movement. If I'm going to the gym, amazing. I'm buzzing. I can do DECA and I can complete it again this year. Fantastic. So for me, it's a real privilege.
We need
And
to
my
follow that
body's not
journey
in
for
any
you as
pain.
well. We
Yeah,
need
yeah,
we need to
yeah,
follow that DECA journey. I want to definitely keep updated with that. That we maybe jump on, maybe come down, do some filming
yeah,
with you guys. That'd be so
yeah.
good.
Cool.
And
Clive's
again, so
doing
to
it as well
continue the
this year.
journey. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
Wow! I'm
roping
definitely
him
going
to
to be
doing
there.
it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't
Come
wait.
along.
I can't wait. Yeah, that'd be really good. That'd be fantastic. And what about you, Phil? What would fitness mean to you right now?
Ooh, I think it's nice to have goals like I want to get stronger, I want to get fitter. But honestly, if I can move and have longevity and pain-free like fitness life, like honestly, that is the ultimate goal. If I can still be mobile and moving and have strength when I'm 70 or 80, I think that is honestly everyone should have that goal, rather than just looking at, I want to be able to squat this in my 20s or 30s. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
actually having genuine longevity, I think, is ultimate goal.
Great.
Yeah, agreed. I've got a saying that I always use, and that's for me every day. Movement is medicine to me. That's if I'm moving, I'm happy. But maybe I should change it to fitness as medicine, because movement is only a turn, like just walking or just stretching mobility. But actually, just being able to do fitness is a great medicine. And the more of that medicine we take, the better. So yeah, I do want to definitely also encourage people that are listening to this show to share it with their friends, anyone they think maybe needs to hear this, anyone that's got an injury, anyone that's dealing with a type of illness, or you can type in the comment section and reach out to us. We'll happily reply. And also you can give these two fantastic, powerful women a follow on Instagram. So do you want to share your Instagram, Phil, and then Lindsay after?
Yeah, sure. Mine's just at Philly_Fleming.
Cool. And she'll be there doing her rehab. Lindsay, fantastic. And I say, you guys are very empowering. It's been great listening to you today. I've really appreciated your time. And I really hope that people can take away the strength of not just the physical side of it, but actually how important the mental side of it in dealing with injuries, dealing with an illness, and the fact that it is a roller coaster. Grab a friend, grab the community, don't deal with it on your own, don't isolate yourself. And sometimes I'll end with this, Phil. Strength isn't about pushing harder, it's about listening, adapting, and like you said, Lindsay, staying in the fight. Be in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
that's the
be
long-term
brave
goal.
enough. Be brave enough to go up to someone if you see someone trying something like that.
Love that. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, guys, thanks so much for the conversation today. I'm looking forward to following the DecaFit, Lindsay, and following your journey and
Yeah,
ties.
with time.
Yeah. Phil, gonna still follow your journey of your rehab and getting back to where you want to be. And obviously, big day for you tomorrow. Good luck on your new course, and hopefully that
Thank
goes well
you.
for you. And
Thank you.
thanks to our listeners today for listening. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, Chase Payne Podcast is out.